Hey guys, welcome back to another podcast of Road of Abundance. Today I have a special guest. His name is Harry, best shaman in Los Angeles, and someone that I call a friend. We actually met through work, so I went for a session with Harry. He's going to tell you soon what he's doing, but it's a treatment with energy and a lot of stuff. So Harry, tell us a little more who you are, what you do.
Well, my name is Harry, you know that. I lead people on internal journeys to activate their best self and live a fulfilling life. So how I do that is many different ways. I've been doing it for 32 years.
It's older than me.
Longer than you've been alive. There you go.
It's a long time.
Well, I'm only 27.
So you guide people to find themselves and help them to realize their best potential and the energy that would be stuck inside the body.
How I describe it and explain it is debugging and upgrading your human operating system. So we go in and we clean, because maybe there's a program, a habit that we have that could have been a survival mechanism as we grow up that's no longer useful. It's obsolete. So it's like an app running in our human operating system. So if you disengage that app and you file it away, then your human operating system can operate more efficiently. Mm-hmm. So it's deep internal inquiry to really go in and discover the parts that don't serve you, the programs and habits that no longer serve you, because we have a divine mind and we have an insane mind. The insane mind is insidious, it's cunning, it's tireless.
It's the voice you keep hearing in your head. Yeah.
And you can notice, you can begin to discern and distinguish between which voice that you listen to. Yeah?
Exactly.
And when we practice our spiritual practice, whatever that is for each one of us, we practice single-minded focus. Mm-hmm. Because we live so fragmented in the world that we live in today, we practice single-minded focus. And we live what I call, Mike, living vertically, mm-hmm. in the now, in the moment, in the present, which offers us presence. Yeah. So we can notice what occupies
We're shifting away.
Yeah. When we can notice what occupies the real estate in our head, and when our mind goes where it goes. Yeah. Because there are things that we're either connected or we're distracted. Yeah. And most of humanity live from the chin up, lost in thought. So what I do is lead people on the journey internally to become aware and to become conscious.
To reconnect with the emotion, the heart, and everything.
Yes. Well, we get to go in, because most of us, we have two eyes that look outward, we have two hands that reach outward, and most of us live out here in the world.
Yeah.
And yet when we take a deep breath and we return and go inside, mm-hmm. and we connect internally. Yes. And then we connect and then broadcast and radiate out. That's the place that we're the most effectual, in this world.
Of course.
Yeah.
And it's what I say all the time about meditation. It's like shutting down the voice. That's the first goal of meditation for people. It's like, like you were saying, vertically, it's like people should be aligned. And the voice, the ego voice, it's always trying to pull you. Like it's like your little demon trying to disalign you from your purpose, your life.
Yes.
And when we don't live in a present moment, like the book The Power of Now that by Eckhart Tolle, it's like you're always stressing about what didn't happen or mm-hmm. thinking about what happened and how you could have changed it, but it already happened.
Right.
So we forget that we need to live in the now, basically.
Yes. Well, we as human beings waste about 95% of our energy because our insane mind is going, well, I'm concerned about that and I'm worried about that and I ought to do that and I should do this and I need to do that and what about that? And then, if life was just different than it is. And if that person was just different than they are. And what about if I just had this? Yeah. Then everything would be okay.
And then when you have it, it's not okay, and then it's another problem. It's another thing coming.
Yeah.
And I remember when I came to see you the first time, it was for a back problem, but I already know that most of pain, not problem, most of stuff that's gonna show up on your body, pain, anything, it's related to emotion or stuff that are stuck and energy that didn't get released.
Right. Well, we forget, Mike, that we're vibrational beings. We're energy in motion, yeah? And we forget that our emotion, we have a thought that leads to an emotion, and then we're vibrating on a certain frequency, and then things get stuck, yeah? And our mind tells us a story, and then we get on a slippery slope, and we start resonating. It's true, right? We can all relate.
Yeah.
And we get on a slippery slope, and then we're feeling bad. Now, one of the secrets to life is just to feel good.
Yeah.
There's only two ways to feel: good
or bad.
or gooder.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, I remember even me that I'm super spiritual, I meditate and stuff, but when I'm not in my routine or I have a day like today, was a crazy day and there's a lot of things happening in personal life and life, and if I don't stop and meditate and just reconnect with myself, like I get back to old habits and frustration and anger, and then you're stressed, and it's for event that already happened. So yeah, it's like always remembering, like we need to remember that every day we have to do the work.
Every day, every day we get to be in it. If you don't do, if we don't do our internal work, if we don't go within, we're going to go without, because life is an inside job. And then if we're walking around, we walk around holding on to lots of stuff, you know, mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, psychically. And then it's like if we get frustrated and we're walking through life frustrated, we're
emitting this frustrating frequency.
Yeah. And then it hits people, it hits the universe, and then what you're getting back is going to
frequency
reverberate back to you.
Yeah, I feel it. It's like when you are in a room and basically people are like, wow, this person is shining, or there's something about this person, and they want to be around your energy and they want to be around you. Or if you're in the other energy and you're like frustrated and you're driving and life is just going to give you what you're asking for. So if you're like, everybody's a bad driver and you're stressed and you're like super angry, other bad driver or other driver going to react to that behavior. And everything's going to happen. People are going to cut you. Light's not going to turn. So yeah, it's like you attract whatever you project in life.
Yeah. It's a great reminder that everything is energy. Energy's everything. So when we clean our energy, what I talk about is the first thing in the morning, practice the 3 C's. The first C is get connected. Yeah. This is our solar plexus. It's right above our belly button, below our ribs.
With breathing.
With breathing.
Yeah.
Yes.
You
we forget to breathe.
Tell us what you like to connect. What's your best breathing pattern that you would give tips to the audience that is listening? Like, you have a countdown, something you say in your head, or the way you breathe. You want to explain it a little?
Well, I teach breath work, so I studied with Stosnoff Grof, and it's holotropic breathing. So there's many different types. There's pranayama. There's all kinds of different breathing techniques. David Blaine submerges himself in a plexiglass box of ice in the middle of Times Square. And the last time he did it was for an hour and 45 minutes, and he did it by just breathing. There's monks that go out in way below zero weather, and they stay out all night from just breathing. Breathing, we can breathe through anything. So, it's being conscious of our breath, because we walk through our day, and you can ask the average person, did you think about your breath today? And it's like, no. So it's remember to breathe, because our breath is always going to bring us home. So if we practice chest, belly breathing, yes?
So belly first or chest first, you would say?
Well, there's different
your
trains
technique
of thought.
that you would say, like?
Well, if you're going to fill up your lungs, fill up your belly, breathe all the way to your pelvic floor. You can squeeze your perineum. So you're pulling your energy down and up. You're connecting in your solar plexus, yes?
Yeah.
So you can breathe chest, belly breathing. You can breathe belly, chest. David Elliott is another guy here in LA, and he teaches it. You can do breath work with him, and it's belly, chest.
So you can basically find whatever works for you.
Yeah.
And I know that myself, I like deep breathing most of the time. The fast breathing, if I'm gonna do a cold bath, like the Wim Hof, I do it.
Well, that's called breath of fire.
Yeah.
So it's in and out through your nose. So you're belly breathing.
To pump the energy, and then you don't really feel the cold anymore. Well, you feel it a little when it shocks your body, but then it helps you with the breathing, like you said.
Well, you can stay in it.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? You can't stay in it if you don't breathe, because you're going to...
Yeah.
But it's getting your energy to move. Then you're getting fire You're
Exactly.
getting warmth in your system. It's going to work. It's getting in your own flow, Mike. It's like, that's the whole thing about this life, living in this dimension on planet Earth, is find your sweet spot, I call it, but find your flow. Musicians call it the pocket, athletes call it the zone, writers call it the flow. I like to call it your sweet spot, but call it whatever you like. It's unmistakable when we're in it, when we're just in our flow.
Life is flowing.
Flowing.
Yeah, exactly.
And we know it, and then everything just happens, right?
Yeah, it like life happened like from you, but everything just align when you're actually flowing, everything just aligns for you.
Well, that's a great point, Mike. I love when you say that life is happening from you, because it's true. Life doesn't happen to us. It happens from us because we're choosing our experience. It's a choice to feel hurt. It's a choice to feel offended.
Yeah.
It's a choice to feel depressed. It's a choice to feel unhappy. It's a choice to feel happy.
Yeah, exactly. People always say that's like, how are you so happy all the time? Well, you can choose to be happy or depressed, no matter what
Correct.
happens. You get a car accident. There's two ways of seeing it.
Yeah.
There's nothing you can do. It already happened. Now, what can you do? You can still be happy and just do your day and this and that. And like, there's always two ways of reacting, and often people are programmed or they're taught to react the bad way, and not be happy, or let this event affect the whole day or the whole week or whatever. And then it's just a chain of event that leads to even more, because that's what you attract. But after the connected, what would be the second C and the third C of your morning routine?
So first you get connected, then you get clean with your energy. Just clean your energy, breathe, clean the energy. Because like you said, if you're feeling frustrated, if you're feeling resentful, if you're feeling anger, you're walking around with it, it's a certain choice that offers a certain result. Yeah. Happiness is the absence of looking for happiness. If you're looking, right? If you're looking for happiness, how can you be happy? Yeah. So it's originating. It's living out of a platform and a foundation of happy. So you get clean with your energy. The third C is get clear. Get clarity about what you want. Yeah? Because once you're clear and you have clarity, clarity equals fun. Then you can walk through your day. Yeah? And have fun like you.
I had a friend that he had this saying. He was like, whatever you're looking for is looking for you, because you're commanding life to happen for you. So I want happiness. Instead of being happy, you want it, so you're chasing it. But actually life, so happiness is chasing you, so you're never catching each other. But if you're living in the present moment and just breathing and manifesting it in your life, then you're not moving and you let life bring it to you.
Yeah.
And you can't really choose. You just have to trust and trust the process. And often we want to choose on top of it how events is going to end up in our life. So let's say that I want to manifest something. I'm going to decide how it's going to manifest, but that's not how it works. We just need to be connected and have the clarity and then set our intention and let life bring it to us.
That's so powerful. Because when you feel good, then you become a powerful magnet. So everything just comes to you. It's just walk through your life when I call vertical. Then you're radiating and broadcasting. You're feeling good. The universe, there's synchronicities that just happen. Quantum physicists call it the quantum field. You can call it the mind of God. If you want, you can call it the divine, the universe, whatever, you're comfortable with. But it's unmistakable. When you're in the presence of someone that's in their own flow, it's unmistakable.
Yeah, you feel it for sure. Energy is different when people are aligned. So we talked a little bit about, you have other stuff that you do in your morning routine, or like daily habits that you have, like health-wise, spirituality-wise.
Oh, yeah. I have a powerful
Tell me more.
I have a powerful morning practice of gratitude.
Okay.
Being grateful and
it's very important.
Yes, and wanting everything that I have.
Do you journal, or you just do it in your head?
I do it in my head. I have a book that I write in, for sure, and it's very powerful to write things down. Yeah. I have a practice of meditation, of breath work, of stretching, You do it daily or? Yoga, daily, absolutely.
You hear that, guys? Daily.
Daily.
It's important. You've been doing it for over 30-something years, and you still do it daily, and you still see the power every day.
You cannot not do it. Yeah. If you want, it's like a singer. You must sing every day.
Yeah.
If you play tennis, you must play tennis. If you play basketball, you play basketball. Right? If you write, you write.
And people are going to be like, oh, wow, daily, it's a waste of time, this and that. But actually what I notice is like you said, when you're connected and everything, you just have to trust that life will happen. So basically, you're saving time because in fifth dimension, there's no timeline. There's no what we think about past, present, future.
Correct.
Everything is the same timeline. So when you take time to connect with yourself and meditate, there's no more timeline like waiting for this to happen. Life will make it happen, and it could surprise you the way that it does it. But you'll be like, wow, I just skipped like 1 year of work because I was connected.
Right.
But people call it luck. I like to call it like being in the flow. Like you said, it's like you did the work before and you're doing it daily.
Well, luck is when preparation meets opportunity. You know, in consciousness, there is no time or space. And if we're not living in trust, like you said, what are we doing if we're not living in trust?
Yeah.
I mean, we forget how much we live in trust. We get in cars that are 3,000 to 6,000 pounds of metal. We drive down the road and we trust that other person is going to is going to stay in their lane.
Yeah.
And we forget. People get, like fear of the unknown. We live in the unknown every day. We don't know about tomorrow. We don't know about tomorrow.
There's more death, I think, in car accident than a lot of other stuff that we're scared of. But we take the car every day and we don't care. Like, because we forget.
Yeah, we forget.
We just trust. And
trust.
That's what people, actually, they forget to trust on what's really important and matters.
What really matters.
Yeah. So any other, like, healthy habits you have? I know that you're like me. You're very specific with your water that you drink. So you have... a machine that cleans your water, plus you like, there's a certain type of water that you like to drink. If you want to talk about that a little, or...
Well,
like,
not everybody's... It's very important, the water that we drink, because...
75% of our body.
Yeah, as adults.
Yeah.
Water holds an energy. So every thought that we're thinking creates form on some level. So we're downloading into our bodies, into the water in our bodies of a frequency, a vibration. So it's like Dr. Emoto, who had the water crystals. He did the experiment with water crystals where he took and had people stand around and say, play beautiful music and say, I love you,
And how the water reacted.
He froze the water, and he had a special camera, and he took pictures of the water. And the crystals were like beautiful and, perfectly formed. And he had other water that he played like heavy metal music, right?
I've seen it.
Yeah. And then they said,
all disturbed the water was like,
and it was deformed. So it matters. And water is very important. I drink life water, it's made, there's only 3 places in the world that they make it, Russia, Romania, but it's deuterium depleted. So they went to places in the world where people live the longest, and they found Siberia was where people lived the longest. And they found that their water was deuterium depleted. It's a whole thing. But you have to be a ninja to do it, and it's expensive, but I do it because I do everything possible.
There's a machine like the Keegan water or Tyent. I have Tyent, you have Keegan.
Yeah.
But those machines are a good investment. It's like,
sure,
you can take a loan. It's like $50 a month. If you can invest $50 or $100 a month on your health, I mean, water is what you drink the most. And I see a major difference when I drink clean water versus when I drink even the cheap bottled water is not going to hydrate you. But when you actually drink those kinds of water, you feel really hydrated and like it's easier to be in your moment, in your flow.
Well, look at your skin.
Yeah.
You can always tell you're hydrated.
Yeah, exactly.
You can tell when a person is drinking water, and it's, it's intercellular and outer cellular water so that we're hydrated properly. Yeah. I do all kinds of things. The Kanga Machine is really good. The thing about the Kanga Machine, the most important thing it does, I have an extra filters on it, so it really filters the water, because our tap water in LA
it's terrible. Yeah.
It's terrible. But it filters the water, and then it adjusts the pH, and it runs it across 7 platinum-coated titanium plates, so it puts oxygen in the water, it puts hydrogen in the water. The most important thing that it does is it puts energy in the water. It's like, think of a mountain stream flowing down over the rocks in the sunlight. It's full of life force.
Yeah.
And that's what we want the most, is life force. We want food. With food. I talk about, Mike, is I adhere to 4 things. Make sure that what you're putting in your mouth is good. that it's full of life force, that it's full of energy, because we're feeding us. It's like putting gas in your car,
Yeah.
you know? And our bodies are miraculous. If you study our bodies medically, it's miraculous when we put food in that it can turn into fuel for us and
Yeah.
activate the ATP molecules. So eat well, sleep well, make sure you're sleeping. Yeah.
A lot of people forget.
Yeah.
Too much hustle, too little sleep.
Well, life gets out of balance sometimes. Yeah. And what are we doing all the hustle for if we're not enjoying our life every day?
Yeah.
So sleep well, exercise, make sure you pump your blood, and do your spiritual practice. So it's the 4 things that I adhere to that really creates balance in one's life.
In your daily habits.
Yeah.
That's cool. Other question I would have for you, what's your favorite book? If you have 2 that are like equal, you can give 2. But if you could give one
Wow.
book as a gift,
Wow.
put you in the spot right now.
Yeah, that's a tough question. I mean, I have so many.
You can choose 1 or 2.
You know, I mean,
Go with the feeling.
David Hawkins, I mean, Dr. Joe Dispenza, I mean,
Choose
they
a
have
book. You can name 2.
Eckhart Tolle, I mean, well, The Untethered Soul is really good.
Oh, so good.
So
I'm reading it right now.
Oh, it's so good.
By Michael
Singer.
Yeah. So good.
Power versus Force, David
By-
Hawkins.
Oh, it was so hard to read. Oh my god.
It's hard to read.
Oh my god, it's so terrible. Especially as
Yeah.
a French person reading in English, and then I was like, wow, it's very like I felt like I talked about this book in another podcast, and I was like, it's actually a book that you can read the whole page.
Yeah.
That means nothing.
Right.
Nothing. And then you're like, well, I'm not sure if I missed something, or it's just the way that he wrote the book, so it aligned with his energy scale.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the energy
I would
scale.
say that let's talk about it. But the Course in Miracles is one of the most
Course and Miracle.
Course in Miracles. I mean,
Who's the author?
it doesn't even list the author on the book. I mean, it was written by Helen, and she worked in finance in New York, and she would go to work. She would channel in the morning and write the book, and she would go to work and come back and pick up right where she left off. So she totally channeled the book.
Oh, okay.
And it's thick like a Bible. It's got really thin pages. And if you try and read the book, and if you haven't thrown it up against the wall at least twice, you're not reading the book, because it's amazing.
It's like
and
Power versus Force I wanted to throw that book.
Yeah. Well, David Hawkins talks about it in Power versus Force because he says, because he calibrates everything in life. And so the Course in Miracles calibrates really high.
So let's deep dive into this book since you brought it. Like, let's talk about the scale. So it's a scale from 0 to 1,000. If you want to talk a little bit about it, and I'll add my 2 cents on it.
Well, I mean, David Hawkins calibrated where we live as humanity and in consciousness, where Jesus lived in consciousness, books. You know, he calibrates
Everything.
Yeah.
Like he kind of invented the scale of, and for people that don't know, basically negative emotion like hate, jealousy, and all those emotion that are not good for your soul and energy are going to calibrate between, under 200.
Right.
And then it goes from 50 to 125 to 150. And I think at 175 you have ego. And like when you're money driven and ego and stuff, you're still in the negative, but you're really close to making it. And then if you talk about love, gratitude and stuff, you calibrate between 400 to 600. And in the book, they say there's only 6-7 people that are higher than 600 energy on the planet right now.
Yeah.
So it's really powerful. Like, it's just to understand that when we want to manifest and be connected, we should be in those grateful emotion, which I like that you brought it, that in your morning routine, you do the grateful journal, which I was doing. I didn't do it. Confessing a sin. I wasn't in my routine with the move out and all that stuff. No excuses. I just didn't do it. But being in your gratitude every morning, and when I read my page every day, that's why I tell people 10, 15 page a day of books, and then you do your gratitude and stuff. And what I like about reading is it make my mind go still, like vertical, because I think about nothing but the book.
Yeah.
And if I catch myself thinking, I go back to the book, and then I can do gratitude, meditate, and that kind of stuff. And it's very powerful to combine it.
Well, you're practicing single-minded focus.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's called singularity. So when we can live our life, let's say we wake up in the morning and we have 12 things to do on our list. We have a list, a to-do list. And we have 12 things to do. You know what happens to most of us as human beings? We get overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Now, overwhelm is really just resistance to what's in front of us. So we get overwhelmed and then we lay on the sofa and we can't do anything. We don't do shit, right? We just lay there and go, oh.
We watch TV.
Right.
We
do everything
play game.
to avoid,
Yeah.
you know. But then if we just take the first thing on the list and we practice single-minded focus and give it our focus, before we know it, we've
So I always
achieved.
put sex first on the list.
Oh, yeah. That's the most important
you
thing.
Start motivated
That's the most
day.
important.
No, but
Well, you're from Canada.
Yeah,
You're from
exactly.
Canada. You're much more open than we are here in
No,
America.
But, yeah, I feel you. So I had days like that the list just seems so big that you do nothing. You're like, okay, I should do nothing because you can't just get started. But if you do get started, you create momentum.
That's right.
That's why having
right.
your routine in the morning, like you
Yes.
said, your good stuff routine,
Yeah.
is gonna get you on the right track to start your day.
Yes.
And gets you in the moment.
Yeah.
And something I do sometimes that is not good is I jump on social media or on stuff that triggers pattern instead of doing those behavior. And I notice it that my day doesn't flow as much when I do it. I'm not as connected.
Right. Well, we don't want to take our phones to bed, and we don't want to pick up
Wake
our
up.
phones
Yeah.
when we wake up. We want to give ourselves a half an hour to wake up into the day and do our practice, and then you can
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
pick up your phones. But you know, most of us in the Western world that we live in here today,
Just pick up the phone.
we're just go.
I
Just
know
go.
it, and I still do it. And like there's morning that I turn off my alarm or like, and then I'm just gonna check real quick, and then you get sucked in
sucked
it,
in.
or you go to the bathroom and then you just chill on your phone while you're at the bathroom, and then it just starts your day on the wrong track. So yeah, being in those emotion is definitely the way that we want to go. Another question I would have for you would be like, what advice would you give to your younger self or to people listening? Like, if you had one big advice that would change their life or help them.
That's a awesome question. The advice that I would give to my younger self is love yourself, accept yourself, and be confident. Confidence is one of the secrets to life, because we're so, you know, when we're growing up and we're learning about ourselves, we're learning about life, and we're so, especially those of us that are really sensitive, you know, and our sensitivity is our gift as long as we use it for us rather than against us. Now, using it against us is internal negative self-talk.
Yeah. You're
So-
not good enough. You're not
Right,
this enough. You're not.
right.
You're ugly. Like
Yeah.
all those bad talk. Yeah.
Yeah, you'll never be loved, you know, you're not good enough. And
Yeah.
so the advice I would give is, you know, tune in, you know, love yourself. It's why we incarnated here anyway, is just to learn.
Experience the journey.
Well, yes, this is, you know, it's the journey. It's not the destination. It's like we're so focused on, well, make money, get the Tesla, you know, get the lover, get the
That's
house,
what they want
get
us
the
to
bank
focus
account.
on.
Yeah, and then what? I mean, you know, anybody who thinks money will make them happy has never had money,
Yeah.
because it's all about consciousness. It's not about the money. Money's just an energy, and it's beautiful. And when we can use it for
Exactly.
beautiful things.
It brings your flaws or your strength up. Like the more money you have, people say change people. It doesn't, because if you're a good person, you're just gonna be even better. Like sharing
Correct.
the money, sharing the energy,
Correct.
Creating project that
Yes.
do goods for the life. But
Yes.
if you're actually an asshole,
Oh, it's
then
going to make you a big
yeah,
asshole.
it's gonna make you a big one, even
Oh, yeah.
pretentious one and stuff. So yeah, like people are like, it changes and this and that. No, it just exposes you.
It
That's
just
what it does.
accelerates whatever's
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
Exactly. If you would think like of, because we all have failure, like, and when I was saying back before, I was saying that sometimes we want life to happen the way that we want it. So
Right.
we're gonna choose how it's supposed to happen for us, but
Right.
this often lead to failure that we think it's failure or something negative. Let's say I want this apartment, I want it so bad, but what I'm manifesting is actually something even better.
Right.
But I'm so focused, then I think there's a failure for business, for whatever, and then life was just getting you ready to have the best. So if you think about a failure in your life that you thought was a failure and then ended up being like a success or something good, like, you have anything that comes to your mind?
Well, I always say the quality of our life depends on the quality of the questions that we ask ourselves. You know, I mean, what if we knew that there is no failure? There's only choices. If we make a choice and it doesn't work, re-choose without internal negative self-talk.
Without
Now,
the ego.
right. I certainly did it. You know, I would say to my younger self, and your beautiful question, like, you know, when I was younger, I would say I had a trigger that if I did something wrong, that I just beat myself up. If I thought I did something wrong or I missed the mark.
A failure,
well,
a failure, like
yeah.
an experience that didn't end up like you wanted.
Right. So, you know, what if we lived our life like there is no failure, there's only choices. There's a choice, you make a choice. If it doesn't serve you, then recalibrate without internal negative self-talk. So we can never get it wrong. We can never get it wrong. We try something, it doesn't work, re-choose. You know, that's what I would tell my younger self too. You know, it's like
Just try it, and don't judge yourself.
Yeah. Explore for yourself without internal judgment or self-talk. Judgment is the biggest thing. You know, look, we have TV shows that judge. You know, we're judged about everything. And we're so used to judgment, and then our brain just goes to judgment and judgment and judgment.
Yeah.
I mean, what if we could live without judgment? You know, just letting things be and letting ourselves be.
And judgment is always people insecurity, and people, it's themselves that they're projecting on you. And actually, everybody's almost always thinking about themselves. So
Completely.
we shouldn't really care about what other people, because everybody's just kind of thinking about themselves.
Correct.
So we're scared of their opinion or thoughts, but in reality, you shouldn't care. You should just live your life.
Well, what other people think of you is none of your business.
Yeah.
You know, and your opinion is the only one that matters at the end of the day, because sometimes we're very codependent. We take our energy center and put it over in another person, and we care about what they think and how they feel, and you know, and then we're outside of ourselves. And that's being codependent. When we retract that energy and put it in here and decide, okay, I can live interdependent, I'm choosing, yeah? Anytime we hold our space, like you know, you're holding your space in life, you're doing what you're doing. You know, there's always going to be people that like you and don't like you. It's none of your business. I don't care who you are in the world. You know, it's just the way it is. And you can't pay any attention to it.
Yeah. You have to live life for yourself.
Correct.
I know that also sometimes you host journey.
Yes.
You do it like Costa Rica or places like that. You want to talk a little
Correct.
bit about that?
Yes. I mean, I was just in Costa Rica. I had an amazing time. So I lead people on journeys. Yes. And, you know, in the world today, there's an organization called MAPS, and they have FDA approval of you know, clinical studies and trials that are leading people on psychedelic journeys, because they're proving, and there's lots of press about it in the world today, that people with PTSD, with 4 or 5 stage cancer, you know, that are going on a psilocybin journey, or
Which is
MDMA,
psilocybin.
mushroom. Yes, it's mushrooms, which mushrooms are miraculous. Yeah.
From the heart.
They're from the heart. They open your heart, and it assists the neurons in your brain, because they have a protein that blend with your neurons to help create new neuron pathways. So as you experience them, you're here, and the medicine is here, and it offers you a different perspective on life. So it offers you a different way of thinking that maybe you hadn't thought of before. So it works with you vibrationally and gives you messages, and you have aha moments and epiphanies and revelations, and then you get to incorporate it in your life. And there's MDMA, which is psychiatrists invented in the 40s to help bring people out of deep depressions. It really works because it blows your heart open.
Yeah.
And they're having amazing studies with it. So yes, I do journeys
And
in Costa Rica.
like people that would want to do that or whatever, like what would be your, like, you osted a few for sure. So like, what would be like your advice in order to prepare for it? Like instead of just doing, like, let's say someone would want to do shroom or whatever, like they have to set intention, they have to prepare for this. It's not just like, oh, let's do it and whatever.
Well, it's been it's been used recreationally, both of them, because it's called Molly or ecstasy, and that's something that's made in a garage that you don't know what what somebody's made it with, But it's known as recreational drug. For me, this is medicine that's used specifically for the evolvement and the unfoldment of humanity. And there's a documentary and there's evidence that psychedelics have been used all through history for the involvement.
That's really cool. What's the documentary?
You know what? I can't remember at the moment, but if you search, you can
I can
search.
put it in the caption of the podcast.
We can,
sure.
We can put it in the
I
caption.
can find it.
Yeah, I watched it. I can't remember the name of it, but it's powerful because they take you all through history and show you where there's evidence of psychedelics for the evolvement
journey
of humanity.
That's cool.
It's
And
beautiful.
can you give us like one or two, like, not testimonial or something that you've seen that happen that you were like, that you think it's beautiful?
Sure.
Like sharing a little that.
Well, sure.
People don't need shroom to do it. They can just meditate and do stuff. But when you lead people on a journey, you probably have like.
Yeah, I do healing sessions that has nothing to do with medicine. You can do breath work and achieve a state. But yes, I mean, doing the medicine, it's like I have therapists and doctors sending me people to really lead them on a journey. And I can say that I did a pop star, and he realized so many things about, he's huge, and he realized how selfish he was, and he realized how rich he was, and how he doesn't share his love, or he doesn't share his money with his family, and he could do so many things. And then he realized how full of love he is and how much he loves people, and he wasn't doing it. I mean, a great revelation, and he's in a position where he can help a lot of people. I had this nurse that was sent to me, and she was very close to her sister's son, her nephew, and they went surfing together. He called her every morning with the surf report, and so he had a new job. His fiance, he just got engaged to be married. Everything was like going well for him. So she was at work one day, and they called her from the emergency room and said, "Can you please come down here?" And she went down there, and it was her nephew had been in a car accident, and he didn't survive. Now, she was devastated. Now, this was 10 years ago. So her family didn't know what to do with her. She's been walking around with 10 years with all this grief, all this pain, all this sorrow, and she felt like she just stuffed it. Yeah, she couldn't grieve.
Yeah.
And she felt like, Mike, it was so gigantic, it was so gargantuous that she couldn't even begin to go into it. So, they sent her to me, and it takes hours. A journey lasts for about 6 hours, as you know. And I created a safe, sacred space for her and led her into it where she could begin to feel and go into her emotions so that she could open up that space, because she was completely clogged. Yeah. And she walked around with it all just stuck right here. Yeah. And she was one-dimensional. And she went into it, and she began to feel it and feel the grief and feel it. And it's important that we turn and look at our shadow, or we turn and look at the darkness, because otherwise we go through life with blinders on and we go, oh, no, we're in avoidance. Avoidance gets us into trouble because we go, oh, no, I can't look at that. No, and distract ourselves. No, I can't do that. No. And it's like a dragon breathing at us, fire. But the moment that we turn and look at it, it's like a smoke screen that clears, and we're able to face our shadow or face the darkness or face our emotions and feel them and move through them, because it's okay to feel what we feel. So anyway, she completely let go. She was just like this. She was like, whoa. And she felt her emotions, and she went back home, and her family was like, what happened to you? She was bouncy and, full of fun, and
Yeah, that's cool.
And such a transformation. I see this all the time, though.
And people can achieve it also without, like we're talking about the
Yeah.
journey, but they could do it with meditation. They could
Yeah.
do it with being in line.
However,
And
you can do it with breath work.
yeah.
Yeah.
And you were saying something that remind me of the Untethered Soul, like the book, that the guy says that you can feel whatever emotion you want in life. It's just that they can't get stuck. So
Right.
it's okay to acknowledge the emotion. Just don't let it stuck inside of your body. It's supposed to be wind going through a window.
That's right. I always say this. Think about your thoughts like clouds in the sky. Just witness and observe them and let them pass, but don't hold on to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you'll have a thought that leads to an emotion. And then what happens to us as human beings is we have something that happens to us. We're walking through life, and then we have something traumatic that happens to us in life, and then we magnetize to the trauma. And if we can and then we live our whole life.
You can even identify to the trauma.
We live out of the trauma.
Yeah.
We're triggered and we're traumatized all the time. And if we can magnetize to the trauma, isn't it possible that we magnetize to our divine self?
Yeah.
Yes, because we walk through this life, we experience many different things in this dimension. But yet, no matter what life offers or who stands in front of us, that we can go, okay, and we can stay breathing and stay in our flow without anchoring in the trauma and living out of the trauma. We all know people, we see people that just, they live out of their trauma.
Totally. And they have trigger on everyday life. That's honestly, I move every year. It's not the funnest thing, like moving and stuff,
Right.
but it really helped me through my journey, because every time I go to a new place, I can create new space, new energy.
Yeah.
And there's no trigger, because your subconscious mind is very powerful. It's like 95%. And when you always live at the same place, the same house, that you had all those trauma, it's really hard to get rid of them, because every day you're triggered by something.
Yeah.
So
Well, that's why if you can I go into people's homes, and if you can go into someone's home and really be with them and watch, because our bodies, we're so used to programs and habits. People do the same things. We all do. We're human beings. We do
Yeah.
the same things over and over and over. We're so, programmed. And if you can go into a person's house and really help them change their programs and habits in their own environment, and it's really healthy to change your environment.
For me, I've seen a big change. That's like moving in and out every year is annoying, but it's a sacrifice I'm really, it's a choice I'm ready to take. I wouldn't say sacrifice. It's just an action I'm willing to take, because I've seen massive growth through it. And
Right.
it was funny because my mom was like, oh, look at you, you're never comfortable nowhere and this and that. I'm like, no, I'm just evolving. Every year I upgrade because I make more and more money.
Yeah.
But on top of that, I'm just starting fresh. I'm cleaning. And I have it's funny because I always end up picking new place, new apartment that nobody lived. It's brand new energy. And I come up with my new energy, new self, and then I do a year and I'm like, okay, now I learned, let's start. And then I pick another place, and for me, it's been doing good, living with all those, without all those trauma and trigger.
Yeah. Very healthy. It's what I call clean energy.
Yeah.
You live, because the mind doesn't know the difference between what you make up and what you experience.
Yeah.
So we can tell a story about a trauma and go right into it and be escalated completely.
Like when you have a dream and you think it's true and you feel the emotion, like your partner cheated on you in a dream, and you feel hurt, when you wake up.
Yeah.
And you're like, wow, it feels so real, this dream. Yeah, it's crazy. So yeah, that's super cool. Anything else you want to add? Like anything you think of, like tips you want to give to people in order to become more aligned, like deep dive in their consciousness?
Well, do your practice. Life's an inside job. If we don't go within, we're going to go without. So go in, practice. There's TM meditation. There's all kinds of meditation. There's Headspace. There's Calm. There's, meditation studios here in LA, or, just find an app, or, just meditate. Just go in, sit on a rock.
And you've seen massive change, from people when you teach them and they start to manifest their life that they want, and even for you, you've seen massive change, you did with a lot of people.
Completely. If I didn't meditate, I couldn't do what I do. But I had a client today, and he was saying he's done TM for years, and he's in the entertainment industry. He's done TM for years, and he said, can you help me with this meditation? Because I'm just not getting it. And I said, well, and we were doing a Zoom. And I said, well, how about if we just meditate right now? And I said, let's meditate for 5 minutes. So I took him on a meditation. We wound up meditating for 9 minutes. He had no idea it was 9 minutes. But he said, wow, I feel really calm. He said, I feel really relaxed. He said, I was making meditation too complicated. He said, I was making it into something else. And it really transformed him. You could see his whole aura. It's just like he was relaxed. Because we live life in a very elevated state from the chin up. We're like, okay, what about this? And I got to do that, and I should do this, and I got to hit that point, and I got to do this. And, we're like going, because especially, we live here in Los Angeles, one of the biggest cities in the world, right? And this is the city where there's the most distractions in the world. And, you can get distracted so easily. So if you don't do your internal practice, it's highly beneficial.
I think Miami is worse.
Okay. For you?
Oh,
yes.
yeah. Miami's the devil for sure.
Well,
LA has a lot of distraction.
Lots of girls with cute...
Lots of everything in Miami.
Vitamins for your eyes.
Oh, it's like lots of party. But yeah, LA is like, you can get distracted everywhere. And like this whole episode was like to remind people to meditate.
Yes.
Be grateful, do the work and everyday work. You've been doing it for 32 years. You're still doing it every day. I've been doing it for a long time too, and I still have day that I miss it, and then I get back into it.
Well, in Zen they say meditate for 15 minutes a day. If you don't have time, meditate for an hour.
Yeah.
Seriously. Maharishi Mahesh Yogi was the great yogi that he started TM meditation. And the Beatles went to see him when they became rich and they became famous, and they were like, okay, what else is there to life? Right?
Yeah.
And they went to India to meet Maharishi. He had a great saying. He said, do less, accomplish more. Do nothing, accomplish everything. Because who's doing the doing? Be clear, it's not us.
Yeah.
We're the faucet rather than the water. When we just open up and just allow ourselves to flow, then we have the most powerful sonar, because we have a non-physical being that flows through us. So open up to it and just feel good.
And at the beginning, for people, it's hard to trust the process, trust life. But in reality, the more you do it, the more you manifest, and the more you gain trust into the process.
Well, if we could transfer that trust that we already trust already, we don't view it like that. We don't view that we're trusting just getting in the car.
Yeah.
But if we think about it and transfer that trust to all areas of our life. And the other thing that I would say, Mike, is honor yourself. Honor yourself. Respect yourself. Love yourself. We only incarnated here to learn how to love ourselves totally, fully, completely, and unconditionally. Can we love ourselves? I worked with this woman today because I worked all day before I came here with you. And she was in an elevated state. She was like depressed, and she was spinning out. And she's a great giver in the world, but she can't receive. So if we can't receive, the place that we give from is a shallower place.
Yeah.
So she didn't know how to give to herself. And if we give too much, we're going to become resentful. If we don't give enough, we'll feel guilty. So we find that place where we honor ourselves. We create a container, a platform and a foundation to live our lives out of, to really respect ourselves, to honor our gifts, and we all have them. I say, contemplate, use your journal, write down, what is my gifts? If I knew what my gifts were, what would I say? And really nourish them, and give yourself a space to really nourish your gifts. We all have them, and it's so important.
Yeah, it is for sure.
It's so important, You have many.
Yeah, I do.
Yes, you do.
I'm trying to share. Well, thanks you for coming. Thank you for sharing. And guys, thanks you for joining us. I hope you catch some of the good information that Harry was sharing with us, with his knowledge, meditation, and all the good stuff. And I'll see you in another podcast.